Heidi, thank you for being a part of this podcast. I've seen you back and forth at the club several times. I know that you used to be the president of the women's group,
Yep.
and then you worked really hard to change the name. Tell me about that, and then I want to get into you. Why did you change the name? We shouldn't. I said no. I said we wouldn't talk about the club. I said so. Let's not talk about the club. But you did do a lot for the club. Just give me a little bit about that.
So coming from America 7 years ago, it was a very big change for me. I had never been outside the U.S., so coming to Japan was a huge curveball. And for me, the club was my home away from home. It was a place that I could build friendships. It was a place that I could interact with people and be social. So I sort of fell into the women's group at the time. And then some things occurred, and I actually had the opportunity to become president of the women's group. And I took that opportunity, and we decided that things are evolving, things are changing. Even though sometimes Japan doesn't always embrace change, we were seeing more and more people come that actually the male was the trailing spouse. Mm-hmm. And that we didn't want to be this sort of old-fashioned. We wanted to evolve, and we wanted to be inclusive. Mm-hmm. And I think that's what's most important. There was absolutely no reason that men and women couldn't both be a part of that organization, mm-hmm. whether it's with sake testing or going on sake tasting, going on tours, all those sorts of things. Okay. And it was important to us, and we worked together as a board, and we brought about that change.
I just realized that unless people know what we're talking about, they don't know what we're talking about, they'd have to be a part of the club to know that. And I'm just going to put that in, then we should start. I don't really want to talk about the club, but it's part of the American club, and it was first known as the women's group.
Yeah.
And it was basically for the trailing spouse, who at that time were the wives of the men who were sent over here to set up businesses. It was banking at first, then it became high tech, and then we got into the legal realm. It's been in a lot of different areas. And then you decided to change it from just being called the women's group into Connections, so men and women felt equal there, because as you said, men aren't the only ones coming over here as the head of the family, so a lot of times are the breadwinner.
Yep.
Or are being sent over here. Now about yourself, where were you born?
I was born and raised in Pittsburgh.
Mm-hmm.
I was an only child. My parents didn't have me until they were 40. My mom had an 8th grade education. My dad was a salesman. And to be honest, very different than the life I live now as an expatriate. But you know what? Back then, I thought we were the wealthiest people in the world. I grew up in the countryside, an acre of property. And, we just had a lot of blessings.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm. See, it is true when you're young. You don't know anything except for what you know, and that's the area that you're at. Did you grow up with a lot of other kids? Were there a lot of kids in your community?
In the neighborhood, I was a Girl Scout, all of those sorts of things. Mm-hmm. My dad, one of my fondest memories is my dad taught me how to throw a football and playing, football and playing kickball in the backyard of different kids in the neighborhood.
So in those days you were called a tom girl?
I was a tom girl.
Tomboy. They call them tomboys.
Yeah.
See, I'm trying to be gender sensitive now because I forgot what the terms of all changed, but they used to call girls that did that tomboys.
I was a tomboy.
You sure did.
Yep.
Wow. So when did that change for you? How were you when that changed and you said, hey, maybe I should stop beating these guys up?
Yeah, sadly for my father, probably around age 13. And then it was funny. I was always so tall. I mean, even American standards, I was always 5'9", 5'9.5", and all the boys were shorter than me, especially in middle school. So my mom sort of noticed that I lacked confidence in myself, and so she actually, saved all of her money and sent me to finishing school, and I went from there on to modeling school.
Wait. Lacking confidence? You're a tomboy. What do you mean lacking confidence in trying to be with the boys?
Yeah,
you mean that
I
way?
think
you weren't girly enough, you mean?
Yeah, trying to shift and be, more of a girlfriend as opposed to a best friend.
Okay, right. I got you.
So
she sent you to finishing school.
She did.
My last podcast, if you got a chance to see it, I asked them if they had finishing schools here. I asked them if they had that.
Yeah.
And she said they probably do, but they didn't go to them because we were talking about etiquette.
Yeah.
And stuff. So you actually went to, actually at the club, they did have etiquette classes in the old club. They used to do that, teach girls how to pick up their forks, how to handle themselves, how to sit and everything else. So how long were you in the school?
3 years.
3 years?
Yeah.
From what age?
About 15 to, and then I went off to college, so about 18.
So it was an all-girls school?
No, it was basically, it was called Personal Development Consultants. It was, the opportunity again to model, and just learn all of his etiquette skills, and so.
So tell me, what was something that strikes you today that you think people could use more of if they were to learn?
Well, I think
the
the basis of it is to have confidence, to be able to walk into a room, to be able to, carry on a conversation, to be comfortable in sort of a formal setting. I think all those skills are important.
Right. Well, how do you feel coming to Japan where some of the traditions are different? For example, eating with one arm down and one arm above, women going first, not all the time.
Yeah.
Opening doors.
Yeah.
How did you feel?
Very different. I mean, I was very comfortable being in the U.S., but here it is a very different culture, and those cultural norms are very different. So, I had to learn what to do with my chopsticks. I had to learn to, and there's a little bit of embarrassment there if you make a mistake, but you learn from it, and people understand.
Wow. I saw on your profile on Facebook, you have that you're a wife, mom, animal advocate, educator, beach enthusiast,
Yep.
and a shopper.
Yes.
Right? I got all of them? Did I get all of them?
Those are all the things that define me.
So tell me, so as a wife, how do you, when you thought of all those, give me a little bit about each one. Why do you say you're a wife? And I wondered, why did you put that first? Because you had to be a wife first, of course.
That's right.
But I know you put thought into it, so give me something.
So this year I'll be married to my husband for 30 years.
Oh, congratulations.
Yeah, big deal. Thank you.
It is.
And we met at Penn State University. I was married when I was 22 years old. So, my husband's been a huge part of my life, and he's my best friend. And, it's not easy. It's not easy being married for 30 years, but we've been very blessed. We've raised 2 children together, and we've taken this adventure together.
A real question. Do you think etiquette school helped you in your marriage? Did they talk about anything like that?
Yeah, I think so, because again, my husband has always worked for a large pharmaceutical company. He's an executive there, and we've had many sort of social events, and I think that sort of helps you to feel comfortable in those sort of settings.
And he felt good being able to bring you to them.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
You're his first marriage, only marriage?
I am his only marriage.
You said that
First
because you
and
guys
only.
went to college together. That's right.
Yeah.
Wow. Okay, so then
Mom.
mom. Okay, mom.
Yep. I have my 17-year-old son, who will go off to Boston College. I have my daughter, who's already at Fairfield University in Connecticut. They went to American school in Japan here, received a great education, and very proud of them. Being an only child and not being raised with siblings, my parents are deceased. It's always sort of been the 4 of us. We're very, very close-knit family.
Did you want siblings when you were young?
I didn't.
You did?
I didn't. I'm sorry. I was very close with my parents.
See, it depends on the parents, I think.
Yeah. I was very happy.
Wow, so you didn't want to share a thing.
No, I'm not a sharer. I'll be the first one to admit I do not like to share. So.
Okay, so being a mom.
Yeah.
And your son is now the tallest in the family.
Yes, he is.
He holds that rank.
Yes.
That's nice.
But mom still has control.
Most definitely. So, well, how did your husband do as far as parenting go? Do you think, was he pretty good as far as parenting went?
Yeah, but I think he sort of deferred to me because I was the educator. So I think he felt that more as, my realm.
Do you think you ever got any pushback from either of the kids? Like usually the son.
They know. They figure out real quickly who the disciplinarian is, and they knew that mom is more the disciplinarian. I mean, we've always approached it as a team effort.
Okay.
So.
Well, your son never went through, Dad, I'm going to do it my way, and We call it being, in Japan they call it hankoki, when you do opposite of whatever your parents have asked you to do.
Oh yeah, we've been down that road.
And
Yeah.
how did you handle that, just out of curiosity? Because I have 4 sons.
You know, we sort of have a team meeting, and you know, you made a mistake. Growing up is about making mistakes, but you know, this can happen again. And what did you learn from this? And you know, it's building trust again.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, at this point, you can't take his phone away. You can't. He's too old for all of that sort of thing.
Mm-hmm.
So, and I think it's about very strong relationships.
When you said team meeting, all 4 of you?
Yeah, or
Oh,
just the 3 of us. His sister
just
doesn't need to be there to hear his.
But did she have issues? Did you ever have any issues with her?
Yeah, with both of them. I
Okay.
mean,
But
they're
if it was her-
very
if it was-
different children.
Right. So if it was her, how many years difference between the 2?
2.
So if you had a problem with her, it'd be the 3 of you, your husband, and so you never have the 2 kids together unless they did something together.
Yes, yeah. Because I think that also is out of, you know, I mean, there's sibling rivalry between those 2, and they just, you know, I always tell them, you're not the parent, you're the brother or you're the sister. That's not your job, and you know, you often get, well, she did or he did, and that's not. You need to focus on you, and you need to be accountable.
How'd you handle it? They come in, they knocked over something you told them not to. How'd you handle that? When they were young.
First of all, they need to pick it up.
Okay, let's say they're 4 or 5.
Yeah, I mean, just pick it up, you know, mop up whatever fell or broke or whatever, and, you know, it's okay. It's replaceable. It's just be careful.
Right, okay.
Yeah.
So you always talk to them even when they were really young?
Sure. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, I think communication's key, and we talk about respect and transparency and communicating. And
But at what age can you start communicating? What age do you start communicating with your kids?
oh, I think right off the bat, you know, talking to them about what do they want, what do they think. I mean, I think everybody wants to have a voice, and kids definitely want to have a voice too.
That is so true. Now you said you're an educator too, but we're going to get to that after being an animal advocate.
Yeah, so I've had animals all of my life. I grew up with a German Shepherd. I grew up with a guinea pig, as we talked about, a turtle, fish. So I've just always had a love for animals. I've never bought an animal. I've always adopted an animal. So that sort of became natural. I brought my adopted dog here when I moved here 7 years ago. Fully expected to take her back to the States with me, and sadly she got sick and she passed away. Okay. Probably the most devastating thing that happened to me in the 7 years that I've been in Japan. But you know, there's always another opportunity, and we had the opportunity to actually become close with Refuge Kansai, which is an animal organization here that adopts. And we had the opportunity to adopt our Labrador, which we did, and sort of give her a second chance. She was in pretty bad shape when we adopted her. And now actually Refuge Kansai is a charity of Connections. So it's kind of come full circle.
Oh, that is nice.
Yeah.
That is nice. Educator.
Yeah, so I started my career over 25 years ago. I taught every grade from kindergarten through 8th grade.
We're back in
Pennsylvania, outside of Philly.
Okay.
Not Lower Marion, where Kobe Bryant's from,
okay.
but on the other side of the tracks, Upper Marion, I taught.
Okay.
And then I went on to become a reading specialist.
What grades did you taught? All grades?
All grades, K through 8.
And how much is good? K through 8?
Yep.
K through 8?
K through 8.
That would take it into middle school.
Yep.
See, it's changed from my era, because we had 3 separate schools. You had elementary, which was K through 6.
Yep.
You had junior high school, which was 7th through 9th.
Yep.
And then you had high school, which was 10th through 12.
Yeah.
But now they do it differently, right?
It depends upon the districts. A lot of configurations are still that way.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
Yeah.
So what did you teach?
So I taught 4th grade for many years, and then I was also a reading specialist.
Mm-hmm.
I helped those kids that had difficulty with reading, decoding, as well as writing. And literacy was really my passion.
Was it?
Yeah.
Why? Because you were an avid That's right, because you're an avid reader.
I am an avid reader. Yep.
Right.
Yep.
Okay, so that was the next thing. You're a bookworm.
I am a bookworm.
So what kind of books do you
So
like
I
to
love
read?
children's literature. If you went to my home in Pennsylvania, the basement actually looks like a library. There's just children's books everywhere.
Wait. Oh, I didn't bring it here. It's somewhere else. I was going to give you my book.
Oh, well, I will
I wrote a
definitely
book.
be
I have a
asking.
book. I have a book, and the second one's just completed. The illustrator just finished my second book.
Oh, well,
Children's
I
book.
definitely want that. That
Yes.
entire shelf
That's
are
it.
all autographed books that I have purchased
that right?
since I've been here in
Well,
Japan.
mine. The first one's only 36 pages, and the second one, just because I just couldn't go get my head around, I had a lot of stuff going on. It's 70-something pages because I had them put the print on a different page than the illustration. So it's a thicker book, but it's still the same. It's all about gymnastics. It's about Mr. Lee. It's very self-centered. It's interesting.
I would love that.
It's called Teaching Angels to Fly.
Oh,
Yeah.
I love that.
Yeah.
So that's I love books. I think they touch your head. I think they touch your heart. I think that if they're a really good story, they stay with you.
Mm-hmm. All right. So we went to the book. So you're a bookworm, and straight from there didn't go. Beach enthusiast.
Oh my gosh.
Because you just got through talking. We just had lunch, and you told them the reason why you wouldn't have that one scoop of ice cream I was trying to get you to take, because you said summer's coming up, and I've got to be on the beach.
That's right. I'm ready to go to Okinawa in a few weeks.
Wow.
Yeah. Love every beach.
Do you?
Yep. Just love sitting on the beach.
I think
in
all of my
chair.
sons are that way too, but particularly my third son, he and his wife, they love the water. My wife does too. She loves the water.
I love the water.
Yeah.
Yep.
I'm to be truthful, I do too. But I more than bugs. Because when you get in the mountain and doing all the trekking and stuff like that, mosquitoes just do something that I just cannot handle. I need to be put in a tent or something like that.
Well, mosquito season's coming here in Japan.
Tell me about it.
Get ready.
Tell me about it. So that, and also the final thing you have on your
Shopper.
shopper. Now, what type of shopper?
I could shop anywhere.
Because you actually told me you did all of this was you.
Yep.
This is beautiful too.
Thank
I like
you.
the way you organize it, set it up.
I love shoes. I love purses. I love clothes. I love jewelry. I could shop for anything.
You just love shopping.
I love shopping.
Have you ever thought about making that one of your professions? Because you can be a professional shopper.
Yes,
for people,
that's true. I have a lot of ideas of when I return to the U.S. what I might possibly do.
Tell me.
My husband thinks I should pursue decorating. I don't know. I sort of have an interest in that. Maybe owning a boutique. That would sort of combine the things. Maybe definitely continuing the passion of charity. And I may actually even just go back to teaching.
I was going to ask you, would you continue to teach
Yeah.
and work with children that
I
need
think
to
it's
work
the
on their
greatest
reading?
job in the world.
I do too. I think it's I believe, deepest part of my heart, this is the most important and most rewarding thing you could ever do should you choose to do it. That is to teach or to work with another person.
Yep.
And why is there so few of us really take time to learn about it? We'll know more about how to take care of our pet than we will our children.
Yeah.
Don't you feel that sometimes?
Yep.
Wow, that's why I was
It's
asking
not
at
as
the beginning.
valued as it should be.
That's why I was asking you a little bit about that, because that's something else I want to do in the future, is talk to couples. And it's like yourself, the kids are a little bit out of the nest, so you can talk about what happened. But some of the younger couples want to hear that. They don't know what to do.
Yeah.
If their kid knocked over the thing, some of the things they're going to do is usually what their parents did to them, which may not be the right way to go about it. If you're trying to really encourage your children to be a little bit more.
Well, I'm a big advocate of children learn what they live. So I think that we're the role models and we set the course.
That leads me into when I used to tell people that our children don't represent our future. They represent our past, because the only thing we can teach them is what we've already learned.
That's true.
Now, on the other hand, what we represent to our children, we represent their possible future. So it's up to us to be all we can be to show them what's possible.
And to inspire. Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
Since you're leaving Japan, tell me 3 things that come to mind that you'll remember of Japan.
Well, number 1 will be the people.
Okay.
It's always the people. Whether it's the shop owner down in Zabu that I see every single week, whether it's the tax staff who parks my car, whether it's the teacher who, you know, really inspired one of my kids. It's always the people. I mean, they've been welcoming, they've been kind, they've been helpful, and they've appreciated us coming to their country. So I think
that's number one.
Yeah, I'll take the people with me. I think the second thing that I will take with me is an appreciation of the culture. You know, Japan is similar to the U.S. in some ways, but also very different in other ways. And I think there's a long history of this culture. There's a deep appreciation of this culture. And if that's something that, if I could inspire other people to come and experience it. And the third thing is, I think, just the growth that I had. I've been here 7 years, and I think I came a very different person than I am leaving.
How?
I think in my own personal growth. You know, I had only ever been a teacher, and yeah, I had been involved in the community, and I always had this urge to sort of make a positive difference. But it was a little scary taking over Connections. It was something that was very different for me. And so I think that I gained a lot of skills. I gained a lot of life lessons along the way.
You had to really find out if you had that confidence, didn't you?
Yeah, I did.
Because you're dealing with so many of your own peer,
Yep.
and you're thinking, this person's been so many places and
Yep.
done so much more than me, and here I am,
Yep.
and they're going to listen to me.
I know, and I'm the newcomer. Yeah, it wasn't
Right, and I
easy.
just got in here, and how they're going to think, who
Yeah.
did I pay to get in here, you know, and everything.
Yeah,
Oh, I've been there, done that.
yep.
Understand that. Oh, thank you, Heidi, for taking the time to be on this podcast. I really enjoyed having you here. Any words you'd like to end with the people? Or?
Just, you know, every single day is a blessing, and I think you wake up and you look forward to each day, and you consider the year that we've been through, and hopefully hopeful things are on the horizon.
Thank you.
Yeah.
For all of you watching, just remember, it's all on loan, and keep reaching for the stars. Press the like, subscribe, and leave comments. I won't know what you want to see unless you comment.